Shermans, Tigers, ISs, STBs, the Lorraine 40T, and the Leopard 2K. There are countless great vehicles in the game. How can you even settle on a tech tree to grind? And where do you start? Today we'll try to make it a bit easier for you to climb to the top ranks with some sound advice, starting with Soviet vehicles. Let's kick it off with the first era. Here, Soviets have at least 3 interesting picks to choose from, both in terms of gameplay and fun factor. These 3 are the BT-7, the T-50, and the premium T-35. The first 2 tanks have good mobility and nice fire rates, while the T-50 is well armored to boot. The premium vehicle doesn't have any of these advantages, but 10 crew members and 5 turrets are nothing to sneeze at. At first rank, it's a force to be reckoned with, especially in arcade. Now for the second era. Lots of interest options here. You get great truck SPAAs with autocannons like Gaz-72K, beasts like the KV-1 or the premium SMK, not to mention the first T-34s. What's important is that the second rank is when the Soviet armor gets an identity of sorts, its own style of gameplay. You'll see mostly medium tanks with decent mobility and armor, carrying powerful, albeit not the most accurate guns. Just keep in mind that heavies stray away from that a little bit. Early KVs haven't got the high-caliber guns yet, but are already packing that signature thick armor. They're rather slow, of course, but have armor for days. There are as many as 3 interesting SP guns at this rank, with vastly different gameplay styles. ZIS-30 is a great pick for RB. A veteran player will make good use of its excellent gun while having an easier time concealing the destroyer and ambushing the enemy. Take the Su-122 if you like wrecking roofs and one-shotting enemies in the arcade. And the Su-76M is fairly challenging to play in any game mode. Use with caution. As you see at this rank, Soviets have a couple of good SPGs. They aren't quite as powerful as their German counterparts. Moving on, rank number 3. On one hand, that's where you get legends like the KV-2 or the IS-1. On the other hand, you have to fight Tigers, Centurions, Shermans, Jumbos. We're in for some bad times, eh? Well, actually, not. A KV-2 can destroy any target with a single shell, and less than ideal gun ballistics don't mean as much in arcade. The IS-1 can tank some tough shots, and don't forget about the T-34-85D5T, the most well-balanced medium tank at BR 5.3. No, third area Soviet tanks are not to be trifled with. It's time we get to rank 4, and there are even more great vehicles to choose from. Medium tanks finally get decent armor and a fearsome 100mm gun, while heavy tanks of the IS family are still a threat to even the most well-protected enemies. Tank destroyers do not disappoint as well. One well-placed shot from an Su-100 and a target is blown to smithereens. The Su-100P is another marvel to behold, but we suggest to leave it for the RB only. Lightly armored tanks with an open top do not live for long in arcade. That's not even mentioning enemy aircraft that would cherish an opportunity to send a burst or 2 through your non-existent roof. There's a good lineup of premium vehicles as well, with many good picks for any taste. There is the gift T-34-85E, the T-44, the fabled IS-6, for goodness sake. Isn't there anything bad about this rank? Sadly, there is no great SPAAG. You get only the ZSU-37, which has difficulties competing with what other nations have. An interesting thing is that at this point, the identity of the Soviet armor changes again. Now, it's all about heavy armor and ridiculously powerful guns. Yep, they sure do take a while to reload. So you have to make every shot count. But in most cases, you won't need more than a single hit. The 5th rank is just one more of that. Thick armor, limited mobility, and guns that pack a serious punch. Ironically, the biggest stars of this rank are vehicles that do not exactly fill this niche. The first is the ZSU-57-2, nominally an SPAAG designed to fit enemy aircraft. It does wonders destroying enemy armor. The second notable pick is the Object 268. The hull from the T-10, decent mobility, a great 152mm M64 cannon, and there is a tank destroyer worthy of its name. Here it is. Also, don't forget the rank's excellent heavies, the IS-3, the IS-4, and of course, the T-54. The weaknesses of this era are the slow reload speed and the limited mobility. The first is something that you just have to get used to, while the latter isn't that much of an issue if you play arcade battles, where all vehicles have invisible jet boosters attached to them. Finally, we get to the 6th rank. Let us remind you that it's not the finished roster, but you can already see a few things that make the Soviet vehicles stand out from the crowd. First, a lot of tanks aren't that big. Second, most medium tanks and MBTs carry an auto-loader. And yeah, these beauties don't have as much survivability as many of their rivals. But look at those guns, and they aren't that easy to hit given their relatively small sizes. We also just have to say a few words about a light tank called Object 906. Oh yeah, this little vehicle earned itself quite a reputation in RB, both at its own BR and even higher. You got speed for days, a deadly gun, and swimming capabilities to boot. All in all, the Soviet 6th rank has something for everyone. Fast vehicles, slow vehicles, with ATGMs, without ATGMs, you name it. The only thing they won't let you do is to rely on armor. That's it for today. Why do you choose to play Soviets? And what is your favorite era? Tell us in the comments below.